Hello and welcome to Be Well with Michelle Greenwell. This is episode 2, The Magic on the Steam Train, Danceology's Polar Express Magic. This episode involves a delightful conversation with a lifelong dance friend, Rhonda Gillrie from Central Alberta. Rhonda and I first met as competitive Highland dancers during our junior high school years. We danced at different schools, but we were gaining our competitive status at the same dance competitions. And we would chat on the bench, dance our hearts out, and then somehow balance a share of the winnings as we went along. Our friendship continued into our adulthood as we both pursued dancing. In the development of my Stacy on the Keyboard book and music, I made bookmarks that read, "You make friends for life in dance shoes," and this is so true for Rhonda and I. We have had many fun adventures together, and these stories I will save for another podcast. My focus today is on the incredible magical experience that is created in Stettler, Alberta, with the Alberta Prairie Railway Excursions, absteamtrain.com. Rhonda has been at the lead of the magic created by the performers on the Polar Express train ride that leaves the station in Stettler and travels to the North Pole. I have yet to be on that train, but people have been traveling from around the world to be a part of the experience. The dancers who perform for this Christmas Odyssey have been coming back year after year for a highlight in their year. Hi, Rhonda. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much.
So have you got a cup of cocoa at your side today?
I do. 'Tis the season.
I'm drinking some of my awesome tea blend from my special mug, and I chose today the one that says, "Don't let anyone dull your sparkle." And then on the inside, it says, "Some of us were just born with glitter in our veins." And I thought this might be fitting for the magic that you've been creating with your dance school and in your community. So are you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about the Steam Train excursion and how you've brought the story to life?
Sure. So about 5 years ago, I was approached by Alberta Prairie Steam Train to see if I could help with their Polar Express. It was a new adventure for them. We are licensed through Railway Excursions Worldwide and also through Warner Brothers. So everything we do has to go through certain protocols to make sure that we stay with the appropriate scripting and the music and all of that sort of thing. So we set forth and created a show that basically begins prior to the passenger even entering the train. We have a hobo that will bother the passengers on the platform. Then they are able to see the boy and the conductor enact the portion of the steam train where the boy really questions whether there is Santa and is the Polar Express real. Boy joins us on the train. Passengers come on the train. The trains are old train cars and on a special track that is a style that the CN and CP no longer use. It's a different width. And the cars themselves are completely outfitted with twinkle lights and Christmas trees and garlands and all of that. And of course we have Christmas tunes playing as they enter. Our passengers find their seats, and once we're all set and ready to go, we leave the station. It takes about 45 seconds after leaving the station for the music to begin, and we begin with the hot chocolate dance. We sing the hot chocolate song, and then we offer each of our passengers hot chocolate, whipped cream, and a homemade cookie. And we carry on towards the North Pole. Once our passengers have their hot chocolate, we then begin to read the Polar Express. And so we have a voiceover that Liam Neeson has done. and we read the book. We walk back and forth up the aisle, showing the pictures to the children and the family. We are very old school. There is no cinematronics. There is nothing super duper fancy about what we do. It's just really good old-fashioned communication and fun. The kids always will ask questions about the book. And of course, we're dressed as chefs and helpers, and we get to the page in the book where there's chefs and helpers. And often I will comment, oh, I shaved my mustache today, because the fellow in the book, of course, has a sporting mustache, gets a few giggles. We reach the North Pole, where on either side of the train are dancing elves. And so we also deal with the choreography and the staging of the elf production at the North Pole. Those elves are our younger students and younger dancers, and they are troopers. My heavens. Here in the prairies, it can be minus 30, and the wind can be blistering through the North Pole. And they're still out there dancing and waving and smiling and making sure that everyone on the Polar Express is having a great time. We come all the way through the North Pole on the train. We stop the train, and we have a whole shenanigans that we do on the train to pretend that we have the power to stop the train, and the passengers stop the train. We back the train up and stop the train again, and then the magic of Christmas really happens as Santa Claus enters the train. Santa will then bring bells to each person on the Polar Express, and the elves and Santa come through the cars, delivering the first gift of Christmas, as is told in the Polar Express. On our way back, formerly, we sang Christmas carols, and again, old school, hand out the songbooks and sing. This year, because of COVID-19, we're doing more dancing, less singing, but they're all songs that the passengers will know. And because the passengers will be masked on our way home from the North Pole, they're absolutely invited to share Christmas carols and singing with their own families. Once back at the station, we bid them a fond farewell, take family photos next to the train and the tree, and turn around in half an hour and do it all again.
It is such a magical story, and it's just really amazing that it can be brought to life in such a way, and in central Alberta, that, you know, it's there for everyone. I'm just in awe.
At the moment, we are ranked number 1 in the world through Warner Brothers and Railway Excursions.
Oh my gosh. That's just, you know, for the career that you've had in dance, you know, to have the opportunity to give such joy in such an amazing way. And with Broadway closed at this time, to know that the Polar Express is still taking a run this year, it's just amazing.
I was beyond thrilled to get that phone call to hear that we get to do this again. Last season, we performed for over 12,000 passengers.
Oh my God.
And we hear over and over and over again, I'm ready for Christmas now. I was not feeling ready for Christmas. Now I am. We have one family, this will probably make me tear up, so excuse the tears. We had a family come on with a 16-year-old boy, and he was headed to hospice care to finish the end of his life. And they came, but his Polar Express was his favorite movie. And they came on the Polar Express, and we took family photos, held the train, and took a number of family photos for this family. And the day after he entered hospice care, a year later, the rest of the family came back onto the train to celebrate the memory of his death and his his magical feeling about the Polar Express. And it's wild the way things just happen. I was the head chef when they were on the Polar Express in their first time. I was the chef on the train that they were on the second time that they came back. And this is a family that does not have tons of financial means. It was an absolute effort for them to get there the first time and the second time. And I'm so proud to say that they'll be coming back this year because we've been able to comp them their trip this year.
Wow.
And as they leave the train, the rest of the staff just donates as well. It's such a, it is just absolutely magical. And conversations that I had with the mother of this young man, she went back to school and is becoming a licensed practical nurse. She told me, oh, well, I'm 50 and I don't know. And I said, well, I think you probably could. I think you could do anything you'd like. And so she was so proud to tell me that because of my nudging and my promotion of herself, she went back to school.
Wow. Isn't that
And
something?
it's just those personal interactions that we have on the train that it is truly magical. It is truly magical. I don't know what it is about it, but from the moment we enter till the time we get off, my staff, we're fortunate. This is a paid job for us, but we would all do it for free. We love it that much.
It's
Yeah.
as you mentioned about your dancers, what has the experience really been like for them? I know that many come back year after year to make sure, even though they've gone off to university, they can still dance on the train. Can you talk a little about that?
Sure. Now, this year with COVID, we have a number of them actually distance learning through Zoom and other media, doing college and university courses. And so I held the first rehearsal and all of these former students walked in. So these gals many of them started too young to work on the train, so they were elves. Then they got their train ticket and were able to work on the train. That's sort of the bonus. And now they start messaging me in mid-October. I don't know if they'll be Polar Express. I don't know if you'll need help, but I'm home on such and such a day from university or college, or is there any way I can work the Polar Express? So they too, they've grown up through the Polar Express. They know that the performance on the Polar Express is not how high you kick, how many turns you get, how high you leap. It's the interpersonal skills that you get. It's the ability to have calmness and excitement at the same time on your train, to make sure that your passengers have a wonderful experience. They show up, they're ready to work, they are dressed appropriately, they act appropriately. It is such a profound situation for all of us. And yeah, they keep coming back. They come back. There are some that are able to be in college. They're driving an hour and a half one way to come to Polar Express rehearsals because they know that there's new dance and protocol and they want to make sure that they are dead on and ready to go for this year. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And with them growing up in the studio, majority of these children, I call them children, they're now in their 20s. I've known them since they were 3, 4, 5 years old. I know their heart. I know their spirit. When they come to work, I don't have to worry about what they're going to do with the passengers. It will be a good experience for them.
That's beautiful. You've just segued so nicely into my next question, which was about your role as a dance teacher and choreographer, and how the Polar Express has transformed what you've been doing. And I know, as you observe what your dancers are doing and how they grow up through the dance community, there's other pieces that you as the choreographer get to see. Did you want to talk a bit about that?
Sure. Sometimes within the dance community, we get really hung up on the tricks. Who's the best? What is the best? You know, like if you're headed to a competition or a festival, are you going to be the top-notch dance troupe there that weekend or week? Maybe you won't be. How often do you train? What do you train? Like it's so crazy. And with Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok and all of those things, the dancers really get a false sense of what is right and what is wrong and what is needed and what isn't needed, because they see all of these amazing dancers, and they're beautiful, amazing dancers, and they're kicking up overhead and twirling about and all of that sort of thing. But the real beauty of dance is that dance is a communication, and it's a communication that needs to be done in person. You need to feel the energy of the dancer. You need to feel the energy of your crowd or of your audience. And when you're on the train, it's really quite an intimate situation. It is an hour long, and those are your people. So as much as I said we do performance for 12,000, it's 350 at a time. It'll be like 125 at a time this year. But we welcome them into the train car, close the door. That is our captive audience. And so the dancing steps as such are not super difficult, but your level of performance and giving to your audience has to come way up, because it's no extra big lights. We don't have any big flashy laser beam shows or anything like that. It's just us in a train car that is semi dimly lit. And so we just have to bring our performance level up and also be able to read our audience. There are some people that don't want us right in their face with things. They want to be able to sit back and enjoy from a distance. And you have to be able to learn to read that immediately, again, so that every person on that train receives the same quality of service and the same amount of performance quality from us with whatever they need at that point. So for the dancers, it's really brought their level of personal performance and interaction with an audience way up. Way up. Yeah.
I think just remembering from the shows that we've done within a theater to the ones where we've performed outside, and you're in the elements and the wind is blowing in your face or the sun is shining on you. There's just so many variables when you're performing that you don't think about while you're trying to learn the dance or while you're trying to turn it into a group performance. But then you get into those different elements and everything changes. Just a blow of air into your face can change whether you're going to have memory or not. And so it's so interesting too, because as you have people sitting really close to you and you're eye to eye as you're singing or as you're serving out that hot chocolate, it really does change how you can perform and how inside how much you grow. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And choreography wise, my choreography has to be able to fit between the aisles of the train cars and travel up and down those train cars seamlessly. And the train cars are not to code of this generation, shall I say. They are narrow. They are narrow. They're not. Recently, the theater in town redid the seating, and we lost 35 seats because they've made the actual place where we sit wider for today's population. These train cars, they're from the 50s, 60s, and it's narrow. It is a narrow thing. We can barely get, if our once we've served the hot chocolate, we have to get rid of the carafe and take it back to the kitchen area. And there is not room to go the carafe and a person down the aisle. So that too, it really, as a choreographer, it makes me work really more intuitively, because I have to make sure that our choreography is going to work in that situation. So that's different than being on a theater stage, or dancing in a parking lot, or at the old folks home, or wherever we are. The choreography has to fit the situation for sure.
Mm-hmm. So now I know we've talked over time about the different kinds of people that will board the train and then how they change across their experience. Do you want to shed a little light on that?
Oh, that's probably the best. You know, there are times where mom and dad enter the train and they've got their family with them. And you know, mom and dad have just been having a little bit of a tiff in the car. They're not really talking to each other. Or you have, mom is really into this, dad gets drug along. I don't know what this Polar Express thing's going to be like. And so he's reserved. Or my favorite, the 12, 13, 14-year-old teenager that thinks this is ridiculous. This is a bunch of hooey. And it is our responsibility and our goal and mission to make sure that those people in particular have the Christmas spirit living in deep inside them by the time we pull back into the station. And generally they have. We watch families become closer. We watch dad spark the inner child back up in him. And we watch that young teenager go, maybe I'm not too old for Christmas. Maybe I'm not too old. Often grandparents will bring their grandchildren on the train. And sometimes they don't have the ability to be with their grandchildren a great deal. And so it offers, again, a very safe, intimate situation for the grandparents to be with the grandchildren and see how they interact. And they really get to know each other. It's just so magical. It's amazing. By the time we finish and they're leaving, I don't know what it'll be like this year with COVID-19, but the hugs come out very frequently as they're leaving our train.
That's
And
amazing.
I do hope, I mean, we'll be masked and face shielded and all of that. I hope that that's still the case this year, because that's one of the added bonuses as the performer on the train, is all of the hugs and thank you so much and Merry Christmas. And they truly, truly mean it right from the bottom of their heart.
It's really something to see grandparents boarding a train with their pajamas on and house coats and
Whole
grandkids in tow.
families,
Yep.
whole families will come in matching pajamas. So grandpa and grandma, all of their children, spouses, and all the grandchildren. So, like 25 people all in matching reindeer jammies.
It's quite a sight.
It's great. It's absolutely great.
For those people that are, and looking for that experience to share with the family, not just, yes, we can be together, but to actually do something that's a little extraordinary. Going anywhere in pajamas, going to school in pajamas is okay, but to be able to go anywhere else now is, it's just such an extra bonus.
Well, and the train ride is only an hour long. So once they've reached Stettler, the families will generally sit and have a meal together, or visit the grocery store, or head uptown. Stettler itself does a major big Christmas tree lighting, so one of the nights they can see that. So the businesses at large in Stettler are quite used to seeing whole families walking around in pajamas during Polar Express times. They've gotten used to it and actually look forward to it.
There's a lot of communities I think would be jealous to have that opportunity of be able to really bring the spirit to the people that are coming to visit the area.
Absolutely. Like our Canal to Ramada offers a great deal. They do a package deal. They've sort of combined with us, and so they will do a package deal with a meal and an overnight stay and a train ride, all as a package. And those are the only two hotels or such in Stettler that have the water slide and the pool. Everything else doesn't. So they're sort of our upper end, as it were, in Stettler. And they've been absolutely wonderful. So yeah, oh yeah, we're staying overnight. Like the children, they light up. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. We've had people come down from Fort McMurray, so that's, oh, I don't know, 8-hour drive. And they came 2 days early because they didn't want to miss the Polar Express. And the roads were quite kind of questionable that year. And it was blowing and drifting snow. And they did 100% of their Christmas shopping in Stettler, Alberta, before they went back to Fort McMurray. We've had people fly in. That won't be the case this year, but we've had people fly in from the UK, fly into Edmonton or Calgary, rent a vehicle, drive for the Polar Express, and then figure out what they're going to do for the rest of this December time in Alberta, Canada.
And Banff or Canmore or Jasper weren't the destination, which is a typical piece to be in Central
Exactly.
Alberta. So, yeah.
Like the Stettler, Alberta, 5,000 people. It's wonderful. I'm so honored and blessed to be a part of it. It is completely a magical experience. Yeah.
So now you have other train experiences that happen throughout the year as well, because the Polar Express success allowed you the opportunity to think of other themes and ideas, and the railway company has been wonderful to enhance that as well. Do you want to talk about those programs?
Sure. So again, this is a crazy year with COVID-19, and we didn't get to do our summer performing and our fall performing. On a general year, we would start in October with the pumpkin run. So that's an opportunity for us to perform as scarecrows in an outdoor setting amongst straw bales and that sort of thing. Passengers board the train, ride out to a location where the pumpkin patch is, come out again as families, choose a pumpkin, and then head back to town. We have burgers and popcorn and cookies and juice boxes, and we do a lot of fiddle tunes during that time, dance to a lot of fiddle tunes. Then we've got the Polar Express. All summer long, we are backup dancers for the Popoviches. They perform a rock and roll show. They have a hillbilly show. They have a number of shows, and we are the backup dancers for them. So we dance on the stage with them and around in the hall. We do a Wild West show where we do can and that sort of era of dancing. We've got a Western show where we do line dancing and that sort of thing intermingled with the tables in the hall. And we've got a Newfoundland and Eastern show that the passengers actually get lobster when they get off the train in the hall. And we do a little bit of step dancing and some jigging and that sort of thing. So again, it's all about the diversity of what we're able to offer and just to add to the customer experience. Those events, when we perform during the summer, those are not paid events for us generally. But Alberta Prairie has allowed us to say that we would love to have a tip or ask for a tip in kind. and the passengers have been more than generous for us or towards us in that regard. And that goes into our scholarship fund at the dance studio, so that children who don't have financial means to dance are able then to dance.
So the kids are working for other kids, which
Yeah.
is beautiful as well. And that really creates an interesting dynamic, because the community you're building in your dancers is such a supportive community.
Yeah, our dancers are absolute philanthropists within what they do. Um, they are wonderful ambassadors for our community and for the dance studio. Again, I get to watch these children grow up. So they have some lumps along the way, but generally we get through it, and it's wonderful. They think nothing of going and performing for just for the sake of being able to perform. If some of them are teenagers with a car and that sort of thing, it's a travel for them to get to the performance space. So we are able to give them gas money. And the Alberta Prairie Steam Train is very good at giving us a free meal after we've danced. So, we'll work for food, definitely runs in, in this case. We look forward to that roast beef meal at the end of our dance time. And again, it's just the fellowship. I watch these dancers go from being 60% confident in being in themselves and being able to perform for somebody else to 100%. And it doesn't matter if you turned 52 times or if you turned once. It's the interaction with our audience that is the important part. And so then that sets the children up and the dancers up for the rest of their lives. They can give good customer service. They can be an amazing team player at their job, at university, in their relationships, as a parent, all of those sorts of things. It just spirals into all of that.
It's a really amazing, the whole evolution and the things you don't think of when you have a 3-year-old that just wants to dance and they call to say, can I sign them up for dance class, and where that journey is going to take them. And it really is, it's a lifelong learning and love that happens with dance.
It's all of those. I've always said that I'm just here on earth, I believe, to mentor children, and the dance is my way of reaching them.
It's beautiful to know what your journey is, and also the inspiration that you can provide. And you've led beautifully through some of the other questions that I had. And the next one I had in my mind was the message that you might have for listeners about your story, and wondering about how they might engage people in their communities in performance. And I think you've beautifully said you use dance as your medium to do that, but really your mission has been to mentor. And did you want to add anything else to that thought?
Well, not really. I think there's that what is it, an African saying, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And it really does. It really does. We need to be reaching out to any and all resources that are in our community. Most of the time, I've had the odd no when I've asked about something. The majority of the people that I've approached with, could we come and do this? Would you help do that? They're more than happy to help. They too want what's best for the community. It's just an amazing feel. And I should say, I live an hour away from this little town. So for 36 years, I've commuted an hour each way to go to the town and teach dance and do what I do. And it's very much my community. It's very much my community. Speaking with your Board of Trade or your Chamber of Commerce or, your whoever, the restaurant owners, the people that are running the recreational programs in your nursing homes and that sort of thing. It's so important. Dance is so important, and performing is so important, and being together and offering support to one another is just really important at any time, whether it's COVID times or other times. It's just important. And you never know what child or what person that you're performing with or for really needed that today.
Yes, that is so true. Well, Rhonda, it has been a wonderful conversation, and I just know I just get lit up just thinking about the Polar Express. So I am so grateful that you are doing that journey, and that despite the COVID restrictions, that journey is still going to be able to happen. And I just thought I would bring us around to a quote that is part of the Polar Express story. And it's really what I truly believe as well is we all have everything that we need, and we just need to believe.
Yes.
So with that, thank you so much for doing this interview.
Oh, my pleasure.